Hey, what's going on, Automotive Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you, or welcome back to another Game Changer holiday series where we break down the strategies, technology, and ideas that are shaping the future of automotive marketing and sales. You guys are a game changer because, well, you showed up. Thank you, by the way, for showing up. I'm super excited about this, right? We have a great session today, actually from a good friend of mine. Scottie is just, I'll tell you guys right now, and you know this. If you've been in the automotive industry for a long time, you know that there are just some good humans, all right, in our space, right? And Scottie Sigmon with Hippo Media Group is just one of those individuals. Plus, the guy's got the confidence to literally wear a purple suit. I'm talking the full thing, man. But this session couldn't be any more timely. I think this is a great time of the year as we're wrapping up 2025. We're staring down the barrel of 2026. We really need to be thinking like just how am I going to use AI technology inside my dealership, in my operations, in my sales, my marketing, my service, my F&I, like how do I really inject right this amazing piece of technology into it? And by the way, don't do it for the sake of doing it. All right. And you're going to hear that from Scotty today, by the way. All right. You guys want to be intentional and goal oriented when you get into a piece of technology like this, right? Define the process that you guys are hoping to achieve and work backwards towards the technology. You guys will always win that way. All right. So let's talk about today's session. Okay. Today's session is all about attention, engagement, and speed to the sale. If you're a dealer or an automotive marketer trying to cut through the noise, win the scroll, you know what I mean, all day long, scroll, and actually convert modern buyers, this conversation is for you. So I'm going to give you a minute to grab your popcorn, get a notebook, fill up your coffee. So we're going to start here in a little bit. We're going to get into it. I am excited today because we're going to be joined by Scottie Sigmon, founder of Hippo Media Group, who's going to walk us through how next generation AI imagery and AI video are changing the way brands show up, connect with buyers, and close deals faster. And guys, I can guarantee you, all right, you have seen some AI imagery and a ton of AI video in your scrolling, right? And it's not just for entertainment and laughs, all right? This allows you to scale your ability to message in a very large way. So we're excited to do this. So today we're talking real world workflows, real examples, and practical ways you can use AI today, not someday, but today, to improve your marketing and your messaging and your results. So whether you're watching live or listening back on the podcast, get ready to rethink how you create content and how your customers find you. Let's go ahead and get started.
Heard a long time ago a joke, where do you hide a dead body? The second page of Google, nobody goes there. Amazon, they are the gorilla. People don't go for commerce to Google. They just go straight to Amazon. There's kind of the ChatGPT paradox, which is people use ChatGPT completely different than they use Google. Nobody really reads anymore. Video beats everything. Daily media consumption is 154 minutes on video, 53 on podcasts, and only 16 minutes reading. We're going to live in the era of zero clicks. Before 2026, it might be 50-50 on navigational Google searches, and then the other half on just AI search queries. And how you rank is going to be super important to how your dealership performs in the market. If you want to sell minivans, run a podcast campaign to women in that audience that are listening to true crime podcasts and spend like a couple $100. It's going to be way better advertising, half the stuff you're doing right now. Marketing is now attention. How much attention can we get within a month? That's the most important thing. Google proved out, and they just gave them the rules of the game. The humans never won.
Welcome to the Strategy with Jason podcast. Tune in for everything you need to know regarding the automotive industry. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
Hey, what's going on, Automotive Nation? It is Jason Harris here, and thank you for joining me on another episode of the Game Changer Seminar. I have had so much fun putting this series together. We have looked far, wide, and everywhere to find the vendor partners out there that are truly changing the game, and this next person that is coming up is doing exactly that. All right, it's a friend. I am. Here's the one thing I love about this industry. You know that as big as it is, it's a small industry, and we get to create some amazing connections in there. And we have Scottie from Hippo Media coming up. By the way, best name, sorry, for any for any media company out there, Hippo Media. But we're going to dive deep into AI search. Why? Because SEO is dead. No, we're going to get real cool into some great strategies and tactics that you guys need to be deploying right now at your dealership and your marketing efforts that are positively going to affect your bottom line and just overall efficiency in every dollar that you spend. So guys, big round of applause for Scottie from Hippo Media. Scottie, come on up, man.
Oh, Nashville, here we are.
Oh my gosh, guys.
I'm bringing out the energy today. I feel like we've had fireside chat after fireside chat.
We have. And one thing, guys, you're going to see real quick here with Scottie, I usually show up and I am told that I am the best dressed. And then Scottie shows up here and just 100% puts me to shame.
I hope nobody needs purple fabric because
you are the best dressed individual in this room right now. Can I say that? Is that right?
Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're gonna. I love kicking off this with an origin story because I'm always fundamentally fascinated. So I'm gonna leave the stage real quick and I'm gonna let Scottie get into it and how in the world he got started in this crazy world we call the automotive industry. Thanks, guys, for watching.
Oh goodness, that's making me switch it up a little bit. Well, I'll start with my origin story because Jason asked for it. But I guess after that, we'll do the normal boring slides. I'll go over some facts. What is it? Stories sell and facts tell. And then we'll kind of dive deep into how you can action these items at your dealership and really make the most of the data that is being provided. Again, don't know everything. Just fail forward and figure it out. But I've been really blessed to get into the automotive business, figure things out. So my origin story, I actually started, a fraternity brother of mine recruited me out of college. I was going to be the next Wolf of Wall Street, as it were, and went to work with Prudential and learned very quickly that I was a glorified life insurance salesman, probably looking just like this and the white collar and all the stuff. And then very quickly sat down with a gentleman, more money than, I think it was $40 million. And it would have set me up for life. And he looked at me, probably gave me the best piece of advice that turned my whole career. He said, Scottie, you got a baby face. Until you have a gray hair on your head, nobody's going to really, invest money with you. And I said, all right, touche. I just passed all my insurance licenses and looked down. And thankfully, I told this story earlier, so this is kind of easy for me. So thanks, Jason, for teeing me up on this origin story. I just passed my insurance licenses and had the ability to look at his declarations page and said, hey, let me quote your insurance. Of course, he didn't care about that. And let me do that. Started a commercial insurance brokerage, did that for a little bit, worked a lot, didn't like it, sold it. And then the first kind of opportunity that was presented to me was a good buddy of mine was like, hey, come on to the dealership side. I've got a BDC manager position open up. I think you'll like it. And yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, not that I'm not honest all the time, but it was humbling because, I got walked into this Nissan dealership and put in a closet, and it was like, here's your phone, here's your computer, smile and dial. I know there's a lot of people on this call that are on this on the live that will understand that, and people here in the audience as well. And I was humbled. I mean, I grew up, my dad was an attorney, and for the first time, I had people, I was north of Greensboro, who just wanted to get a car. And I did just that. And I fell in love with the car business. I really did. The car business is romantic in a lot of ways. When you walk down onto a dealership's lot, or you go into the showroom and you can smell the tires on the showroom floor, you see what people are made of at the end of the month. I love this business. And once it's in you, like people have said on the stage today, it doesn't leave you. And if you're good at it, you keep going. So anyways, worked my way up through the dealership, eventually became the marketing director at an auto group, which is what I would want to do. I was, kind of CIS and marketing were my degrees in college. And we had a lot of success. We turned a 130-car store to a 270-car store. That ended up selling. And then I started to work for iHeart Media and the automotive team specifically. Did that for a couple of years. I'm fast-tracking this because I'm realizing I'm going to run out of time. And my origin story is taking like half my time. But essentially, I think it's important because in order for you to listen to what I'm going to say today, you got to know why I have the ability to say it. Worked at automotive hundreds of dealerships websites and really figured out what moved the metal. Started taking on, I started consulting, and we did it a couple times, 10, 15, 20 times, and then I got the, ability to say, okay, what we're doing is working, and so I decided I wanted to leave. I left, waited that's back when non-competes were a thing. Very much was honored that non-compete, and two of the gentlemen that I worked with serendipitously later joined me, and that's how Hippo Media Group came to fruition. Why Hippo Media Group? As you know, in the car business, there's negative connotations. PhD, Papa has dealership. Well, there's Hippo, highest paid person's opinion. We don't care about that. We care about data, facts, and figures to make our decisions, and that is exactly what we did. We created a company, and plus, my dad kind of helped come up with the name too. You can't say Hippo without smiling, and it's a purple hippo, so you're going to remember it. Even if you don't like us, you're going to remember that we're the purple hippo guys and wear the purple suits. So I was supposed to have cowboy boots on as well for Nashville and left them, and now I'm kind of bummed about it that I'm up here in tennis shoes, but I am mobile. I'm a bigger guy, so I'm feeling good. Today what we're going to talk about is, if you're talking about SEO, that's dead, right? That's done. It's AI search, right? Or now GEO, or AIEO, or the GEO stands for Generative Engine Optimization. I'm going to go ahead and start with some slides. Some parts of this, obviously, for the audience here, it's not going to make sense, but I was told that for you guys, I can say insert slide, and they'll do it right here. So these guys just have the TV. All right, so what we're wait, did I miss a slide here? Okay. Well, what we're realizing is that, clicks, there's not clicks anymore, right? Clicks are going down, but impressions are going up. So what does that mean, right? For the first time, Google's losing the monopoly that they've had on search. They're still don't get me wrong, they're still the 800-pound gorilla. They're still 85% plus. But as that transitions away, we're seeing the AI, part of that come right on the search results page. So, I heard a long time ago a joke, where do you hide a dead body? The second page of Google, nobody goes there, right? Well, now, a lot of the people today have been talking about the website, your dealer's website. You're seeing what we call the alligator, where impressions are going up, clicks are going down, but yet the KPI that matters the most, which is car sales, is going up as well, especially if you are ranking. So with these LLMs and AI, what's the best way to do that? Here, insert slide here. So if you want AI citations, you need to be like Wikipedia. I remember in college, if I cited Wikipedia as a source, I would have been laughed out of the room. My professor would have told me, yeah, that's not going to fly. Now, from a SEO perspective or a GEO perspective, Wikipedia has a lot of relevancy, and it's really 20% of what ChatGPT looks for the ranking. So, just simple math here to help your dealership. If 35% of searches are starting to come from Gemini or ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or all these different models, and they're starting there instead of going to the navigational approach, which is Google, and you could own 20% of that by just having a Wikipedia. Again, that's not so easy, but we can do it. If you've had a dealership for more than 25, 30 years, it's a lot easier. If you're a new dealership, a little bit more difficult, but if you've got content and you can write against it, you can get listed. That's 35% of search, 20%. Now you're 7%. You're a little bit less than 1 out of every 10 searches in a market is coming right to you for free. So we like that. What else do they look like, right? So the citations break out to be Wikipedia, blogs, news, other, comparison, mainstream news, vendor blogs, and then forums and social. Insert the slide. I really hope this translates well. Right there. But anyways, the other thing is that there's kind of the ChatGPT paradox, which is people use ChatGPT completely different than they use Google. And understanding this is how you're going to win. This is more long-tail search, and so optimizing it is no longer keywords. All right, so the other thing to remember, insert slide right here, for everybody here that can see it, but ChatGPT is informational. It's a little bit less commercial and a lot less navigational. Google is going to be half informational, a little bit less commercial, and much more navigational, right? It's directing you to where to go, whereas ChatGPT, Gemini, it's the reason there's no clicks, right? But the name of my presentation is AI search equals money. We don't care if they come to your website. If you serve in that search results page and you answer their question on the vehicle or best rated local Ford dealer near me, you win. So that's what we want to talk about. Let's talk about the real search ecosystem. There's the social search giants, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. There's international players, Baidu, Snapchat, and Pinterest. The logo's not there. That bothers me, but it is what it is. Commerce and apps. I'm talking really fast, by the way, because I've got a lot of content to go over. I just wanted to say that. So I hope that you're paying attention. If you have any questions, please ping me after, and I'll do my best to circle back. You guys know this. Amazon they are the gorilla, right? People don't go for commerce to Google. They just go straight to Amazon. We're seeing that as well. Same thing for apps, Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, LinkedIn for professional content. And then don't count out Reddit, and don't count out Bing, and then obviously ChatGPT, Perplexity, Copilot is built into everything with Microsoft. All of these places are so important to be able to rank. And then I'll go into how you do those things too. So I'm going to give you the in-depth. Remember, nobody really reads anymore. Video beats everything. Insert slide here. Daily media consumption is 154 minutes on video, 53 on podcasts, and only 16 minutes reading. So the content that you're generating with blogs is to index for the search for Google and ChatGPT and all these places to rank you. It's not for the end consumer to consume, so they just don't. They watch video. I'm going to skip this one just for time. What gets shared the most? Videos, podcasts, blogs, ebooks, infographics, images, webinars, and then white papers in that order. And then, you're sitting there and you're like, great, Scottie, this is all good content. You're throwing up at me. You're talking a million miles an hour. How do I action or engage rate, or like what do I need to do to get people to engage with the content that I'm putting out there? How-to content, comparison guides, then reviews, listicles, and news about your dealership in that order will get you the most engagement. That is the secret sauce. We're a marketing agency. I just gave it to you. So follow that, and that's how you win. Remember, long-form video, the champions are the champions, and they've stayed the champions. It's YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and then Facebook. I'm going to switch over. There's kind of a discovery versus buying. So it depends on where they are in the funnel. And I'm sure I could draw the triangle up here. Everybody knows top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. I don't need to educate you on that. But where do people discover? Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, Pinterest. Where do people buy? This is crazy. Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, then Pinterest is what we're seeing in the data. Snapchat's going to come in. There's a lot of AR features that are coming in. As OEMs start playing in that ballgame, I think in the next couple of years, it'll be really cool because there's going to be a lot of just simple stuff like, will this car fit my garage? And then you just inlay it into your, anyways, that was me going down the wormhole. Yeah, I'm going to skip through these. I do want to make one point. So everybody here has seen Days of Thunder? Yeah? All right, so in there he says we're going to do 50 laps my way and 50 laps your way, and we're going to see who wins, right? Same thing for dealerships now. It's digital's faster, but in the long run, you're going to get slippery and you're going to lose to the guy that's doing traditional. The unsexy channels will still win. So billboard, email, radio, podcast, they all still matter, right? I mean, that top and middle of the funnel is the most important. Now, if we only have a finite amount of dollars to work with, let's be educated about it and use them in the most efficient form possible. Again, digital is faster. But if you want to beat and look at it in the long run, that's the way to do it. Again, this is kind of my way of looking at it. Is I feel like dealers are kind of like this month, and then like that's the plan out here. Right? I got a lot of things in my hands. So like here we are this month. Out here, they never look out here. It's just here this month, and that's a big problem. Email converts. One-to-one messaging, text messaging. They convert. Like one messaging. And as we get better with CDPs and our data, right, we're going to be able to action and have that message with the customer at the right time, in the right way, and then how all of our systems talk together. And we're really excited because our team is behind the scenes building a lot of that right now. But email, billboard, SEO or geo, and then social media makes up the conversion champions that we see. Here, I'm going to go back, insert the slide right here so everybody can see it. All right, I'll go to the next one. All right. Again, search engine optimization is now search everywhere optimization. People need to interact with your brand 7 to 11 times before they even really remember you. And it's kind of that 15 to 25 to almost 40 in some verticals before they decide to buy from you. So these dealerships that just bought into a market and they're wondering why things aren't working, it takes time, right? It takes time to build a brand. But that's where a good old billboard and radio commercial and top of funnel, that's where it matters, right? So sometimes you got to get that gas in that jet to get it off the ground. And once you're coasting, then you can really pay attention and focus on the what keeps you in the air, those digital tactics and the low funnel tactics. Remember, SEO is now geo. How you format, the topical depth, the quality, the freshness, the domain trust, and the citation links all play a big part of how you rank. Your website provider makes a huge difference in how you rank, right? Tech matters. It's 60 to 70% of that algorithm, right? And then the rest pulls in based upon blogs and all we're talking about. But if you don't have good site speed, you don't have the things that Google cares about, you've already lost the game before you even started generating the content and all the things that are going to help you win. So I'll just skip through this. It's kind of getting redundant, but AI loves blogs, content types that AI likes, facts and data, unique research, comprehensive comparisons, breaking news, personal stories and case studies, and then visual content. Just because there's zero, we're going to live in the era of 0 clicks. I think before 2026, it might be 50-50. 50-50 on navigational Google searches, and then the other half on just AI search queries, and how you rank is going to be super important to how your dealership performs in the market. 65% research before buying on the 0 click, which is LLM. 25% are researching to learn. 20% never buy, and then ask directly kind of makes up the rest. And then what are the sources of the citations? Direct sales is the most, 6.5. Then Google, 2.6. In-store, 2.9. And then direct website, 2.1. All right, this is the end of my slides, and then I'm going to hop over to the fun stuff, which I'm actually kind of proud of how I'm pacing here. Yeah, no, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So, yeah. Yeah, AI is going to keep exploding. So I really do. It's 5 to 6 right now. It's on this last slide, but every month. But I think it's going to keep going. And again, if the people in your dealership or your marketing partners are just talking about search engine or SEO, or we wrote these many blog posts, they're so far. They're behind the curve, right? Search is actually changing. It's remained steady for so long, and now it is changing. So make sure you get on that train. All right, All right, I didn't want to scare anybody, so I started with this one, but we're a holistic marketing agency. I kind of gave you I spent way too much time on my origin story, but I couldn't make this analogy work with a hippo, so we're making it work with this like awkward octopus guy. Here, hold on. Everything's better with a bow tie. Hold on. All right, now, look at him. You can't even get mad. That's perfect. All right, so now the awkward octopus guy. So I was taught when I was, forming our company and we were working on this as really great advice, which is you want to be, master of all, master of many hats, master of none, but better than one, or whatever the actual saying is. But the analogy that was given to me, which I really liked, was the octopus, right? As you scale your company, you're going to have these 8 tentacles that represent different things, and you need to know the right time to chop off the arm and hand it to a partner to specialize in that area. I think we've hit on it today, but the problem with a lot of these tentacles that we've handed off in automotive is they don't talk to each other, and they're not still part of the same brain. This really is a creepy-looking octopus, but they're still not part of the same brain with the awesome bow tie, and that's super important. So marketing is not just what we do in the market and our messaging and making sure that's consistent. It's also how do we activate at the dealership. Earlier today, Somebody had mentioned that they tell their salespeople the campaigns that are being ran. Mind-blowing. Like 90% of our clients, that's one of the first things that we change that helps increase the numbers is we include the whole team. So this is the number one tentacle is team, which is simple things like, does your team action on social media individually, kind of ABC activity between customers instead of always be closing? That's what sells you cars now. And then when you sell the car, post it on your local page or whatever, your Facebook page, but like 15% of the people that follow, there's a very small percentage that looks at that, and honestly, they don't really care. But if you get that person tag it their particular page, well, guess what? It's that old spider effect. It's their circle and all the circles that are connected to them that then see that they just bought a car, and guess what? They're really happy that Susie Q just bought a car, and then tag your dealership and interact that way. So I know I don't have to get in the weeds, but I feel like it does need to be said, just because it doesn't happen for every dealership out there. OTT, CTV, and traditional TV, I actually lump all these into one. I'm going to go a little bit quicker, but I'll for y'all's edification, I'll dive a little bit deeper. This is my favorite, and I'll go deeper, but we're really, 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 really good at search. I went to the SEO side, but the pay-per-click side, that's really where we specialize. And I'll go into depth as to why we are better, honestly. SEO equals geo. I think I've covered that. Content. All right, this is where I'm going to pause, and I was told in posts they're going to put up some of our kick-ass content right here. So we're going to show you an example of Slimy the Snail, where he started, where he evolved to, and where he's at today. Now, remember, there's 12, 15, 20, 30 hours of training on this to make it look like this. But when we first started this journey a couple years ago, these spots were very expensive. You're talking 5, 6, 7 grand. Now we can turn these for less than $2,000. It's just going to keep getting better, and we're really excited about where content's going. Outdoor, billboard, radio, podcasts, right? Audio in general. Radio became podcasts. But, I remember working for iHeart, and I love the things that they would say, which is people aren't going to they're not going to stop listening to the radio, because when you're at the gym, there's so many times that your hands and your eyes are occupied, so you just want to listen to something. So this isn't going anywhere. And I'll tell you right now, if you want to sell minivans, run a podcast campaign to women in that audience that are listening to true crime podcasts and spend like a couple $100. It's going to be way better advertising than half the stuff you're doing right now. And then process. The receptionist at your dealership, if it's not AI and done the same every single time, should be a very highly compensated individual and competent, right? If I hear again, welcome to XYZ Ford, where today is a great day to be living in this place and we sell Fords. Can I transfer you? Where do you need to go? You spent all of this money to get them to call your dealership, and then the person that answers the phone, it might as well, it might be like the city morgue, you kill them, we chill them kind of thing. It's terrible. So anyways, moving on, we all know what we do in automotive. We cut off these tentacles, and we hand them to our vendor partners to take care of, because we don't specialize in them. And I think that's the point that I was trying to make earlier, is we don't specialize in them. Of course, team stays and process stays. So we'll sew those back on. That's me sewing them back on. I kind of made a mistake there. But everything else usually gets cut off, right? We hire vendor partners, and our tentacles don't talk to the overall brain. I hope this is working for you in your head. I don't know if it's translating here, because everybody's just kind of looking at me. But essentially, the better that you can get these to talk to each other with consistent messaging, the better you're going to do within the month. I always said that it's better to be consistently fair and not change than it is to be perfect and change every single month, because you just don't have any consistency. But moving on, I think you get that point. You want all of this to work together. Guerrilla tactics still work. I'm going down a wormhole here, as we've called it. But the thing about it is if you were to blow up an old car that you were going to take, or generate social content, or have a helicopter come do something at your dealership, or interact on some social component, it could be way more powerful than the 10, 15, 20 grand that we spend on TV that month. Now, I'm not saying that TV's not a great place. It is, and it has its place, and our wonderful content is there in our CTV buys. But let's just remember, marketing is now attention. How much attention can we get within a month? That's the most important thing. So how are we better at search? How do we action this? I think there's two key takeaways I want you to take before I finish up and wrap up here, is that I think we can all agree at any dealership in America, in anywhere, most teams are kind of composed this way, which is you got your top 2 or 3 guys, you then have your middle guys, and then we have our guys and gals in all segments that we, right here at the bottom that we could just get rid of. They're not really contributing. We have the ones in the middle, and we have the ones at the top. So top performers, middle performers, and then like, sorry, Sam, you're really struggling, buddy. You shouldn't be in the car business. Sorry to pick on Sam. But if you want to instill change in your dealership, if you don't take anything from me rambling up here on the stage for the last 30 minutes, take this away. You need to have one of these people in each group buy in to what your new plan is at the dealership, and you'll instill change. And I know we're talking about AI, and we're talking about how to action that and how they're working with humans and all that, but at the end of the day, we're a people business, right? And the car business isn't going to change. We're just going to have more arrows in our quiver and more accurate ways to communicate, but this will remain the same. This is how you instill change on any of those octopus legs. Hope that helps. So I'm giving away some secret sauce here, but here's how we're better at search. 30% of your cars take up 70% of your budget usually. So they're going to sell anyways. Why are we going to spend our money here? Let's spend our money on these cars that don't have as many organic VDPs, that aren't getting the traffic through geo and all the different places that we're driving traffic. Now again, that's kind of a stretch because I just talked about how geo is keeping them on the search results page. But there's going to be newer ways that I think they're going to monetize this, and that's really how you're going to stay and be effective. And we can see this in the data, so you want to make sure that you also market these cars really with that 70% budget. Totally eliminate this budget, because these cars are going to turn anyways. They're just eating your clicks. And then right here at the bottom, these are your birthday cars. This is the stuff that you took because these are just those cars. Let's just call them those cars. You know what they are. And we're much better to go outside of your market and put a couple $100 campaign against these. That's a much more effective way to market these cars. And understanding where the cars lie is half the battle. And I'll just be transparent. Like, the other reason that your search isn't working as well is because these partners, or the people who should be your partners, are making ridiculous fees on this. We've seen upwards of 40% of your fees. So if you have a 10 grand budget, $4 grand's just going in their pocket. And then Hippo comes in, and it's like they're God's gift to search. There's only so many ways to buy a used car near me. I'm just putting all 10 grand of your money on Google. It's not hard, right? But we also are being more effective as well. So sometimes the best answer is the simplest answer. I've said that today as well. And really, we're just here to help, right? Content matters. Good content matters. I hope you enjoyed watching those commercials. That's where we get excited. You know, they talked about the Badger commercials and a couple other things earlier. That's the inspiration for a lot of what we do. Since I have maybe 5 more minutes left, I am going to just kind of finish with, the CDP. If I hear the word CDP one more time, I'm going to just see, automotive is behind, just so everybody knows. Like, I used to think, we spend so much money as a brick and mortar, and we combat each other, and we must be so amazing at marketing. My eyes have been opened. We service clients outside of automotive. Actually, most of our book is outside of automotive. 2/3, 1/3 is in automotive. I should say it's a pretty big book now. So we do serve a lot of clients. We touch over 100 dealers a month. But the future of business in general, in my opinion, and I'll leave you with this, is a human at the top. A human at the top that, well, here's a question. How many people here know what AI is? How many people here know the difference between AI and agentic AI? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so this is the future. we're going to call these agents, and they're going to be able to action things, and we're going to train them. I'm trying to dumb this down because I've been told I get way too in the weeds, so I'm really trying to keep this like whatever, the best level I can. But then they're going to have, a million systems that they talk to, and they're going to report to them. And you're just going to come in here and read the dash, so you're going to be able to partition this 60 ways from Sunday. So every part of your business, they're going to be able to action things, and everything's going to move up to that human. I mean, I really believe that the first billion-dollar company, one employee, will happen. And this is how it'll be done. It'll be done corporately, but with AI, right? And so if you're not thinking about this now, and you're not drawing up your plans of how can I have these not only human employees, but agent employees, and then how do they have those systems report to them, and then how do I action that, you're going to lose. So I say that, and I leave you with this. Google proved out, I think they beat, in chess, they beat the computer beat the human like 99.8% of the time. I forget what it was. They also did it with a game called Go. But then when they changed it and they just gave them the rules of the game, the humans never won. And that's what we're moving to, is human error is there. And if you just tell them the parameters with which you need to train it, this business model will beat everything. And as long as you're doing the simple things too, and paying attention to your octopus. Oh no! Ah! Keep this in. I don't want this edited out. I want my goofy moment. As long as you keep the octopus and get everything talking to each other, there's 3 ways to do this, which is have an agency, a full service agency like us, have a chief marketing officer that talks to us and communicates the octopus, or just have an internal team, which is really the same thing as having a really efficient agency. So it's all kind of the same thing. Anything other than that, anything like we're just going off of our gut feeling and hoping that things are okay, you're going to get swallowed up. And I want to serve mom and pop dealers. That's all that we work with. We don't compete against ourselves. We only work with one within 150 miles of another. And that's a good fight. I know my time horizon on that is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But help me help you fight against the big guys and be more efficient with your dollars. Thank you.
All right, guys. Hey, big round of applause for my boy Scottie here. Scottie, what a great job, man, really. Boy, I know Scottie has covered a lot right now, and for everybody out there watching and listening, literally we're going to break here in just a moment to get into some Q&A. You guys have been sending in your questions, and I appreciate that, and me and Scottie are going to jump on here very shortly. Scottie, thank you so much for taking the time to jam with us today. This has been a lot of fun. I love your passion and your energy for this industry. It truly means a lot to me. And for everybody out there watching and listening, you guys are game changers because you've sat through this, you've watched, you've listened, you've consumed, you're going to take action at your dealership. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to check this out. We're now going to jump into Q&A. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Strategy with Jason podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.
I was muted. There we go. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hey, thanks for hanging out. And man, what a great session. Love Scottie. Scottie's sitting in backstage right now. I'm going to bring him up here in a second. This is where I get to say anything I want to say about him, and he can't actually reply to it. So let me tell you something real quick about Scottie. I said it earlier before we started this show, right? Y'all know you've been in the automotive industry for a long time, and you guys have met just a good human. Well, that's exactly who Scottie is. He is just a good human. He cares so much about the industry and the people around him and making sure that his clients see some serious success. It doesn't surprise me just how excited and deep into the weeds he gets on some of this new upcoming technology. So let's bring Scottie up real quick. Now, since I've badmouthed him a little bit. Hey, bud, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing?
How you doing? Yeah, man, I feel like this is hilarious because my face is all shiny. I got roped into this whole thing at a spot. It's a long story, but here I am.
Well, hey, I'm glad that you were able to come and join us, dude, because we've got a handful. I'm going to say, dude, I'm impressed. Like, you all out there on YouTube, holy crap, man, you guys showed up this morning. I mean, I know we sent a ridiculous amount of emails out yesterday and again this morning. So I appreciate you guys grabbing a coffee and joining me and Scottie here this morning and just diving into, everything marketing and AI and just so much opportunity out there, dude. So, dude, they've been showing up and the text number has been down below. We have a handful of text in questions, some comments I can't necessarily make over the air. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. You're the best. Scott, there's always that one guy, right? That's got to jump in and like say something that, you can't. This is why I make people text stuff in because if stuff just popped up, I probably wouldn't be able to do the show. Anyways, I guess, man. How you doing? How's the holidays?
It's good, man. You're breaking it out a little bit, so I hope it's not coming that way for you as well. But
oh, dude, you sound perfect. Okay, so
awesome. All
you
right.
sound great. So that's the important part. Is that you sound good.
Okay.
And look good.
No, holidays are good, man. Holidays are great. I hope. How are things your way in the Tennessee realm?
Dude, it's cold. It's very, very cold. But I'll take it though. It's fine. It's fine. I'm real quick. I'm just curious before we get into the questions. Any holiday traditions that you're looking forward to this next couple weeks?
Let's think. Yeah, my so Gene Austin, he's the vice president of our company. They have a tradition of eating Chinese food. And so he's kind of gotten me hooked on that. So we are definitely we definitely partake with that one. Other than that, no, I mean just the normal, stocking stuffers and pay attention for the real reason for the season and which is family and if you're spiritual celebrating the most yeah, but I'm not, it's business, I like to separate that, but I'm not going to go down that path, but yeah, I mean I have my religious reasons for loving this holiday.
I love it. It's a great time. There's so many different reasons to celebrate this time of the year, man. Let's get into some of these questions because we got actually here. I'm going to do this one real quick because we had a couple variations of this question asked. All right. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this, man. How do you measure ROI on AI imagery and video?
How do we measure ROI on AI imagery and video as like comparative to like just traditional content?
Sure.
I mean, the same way. I mean, you look at what we do today affects us usually 90 days from now from a traditional messaging, whether it's billboard, radio, podcast, OTT, CTV, pre-roll, whatever that messaging is in the market. I would say that the great thing is like now AI is even becoming widely used at big companies. So I think even from consumer standpoint, they're seeing a lot of AI in regular commercials. So I think taking the strategies that we're utilizing and pushing them to market are it's not like it doesn't look too much different than the commercials and the content that they see on their normal brawny paper towel commercial, right? And I will say that we have a tech coming to fruition for NADA that we're really excited about. All we need is a picture of the dealership and some a voiceover from the GM or the dealer principal or a talent or who they use to get them to read that off. And then we've got that voice and then maybe like a picture of some salespeople, and we can animate all of that and have a spot turned very quickly. So, we would have to fly out.
I think that's the ROI right there. I think for because we had a couple different variations of that question come in. And I think for everybody out there watching and listening right now, that is the biggest ROI is being able to make things at speed and scale. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Maybe I didn't understand the question, but yeah, like we alluded to, what used to cost 10 grand, 15 grand to get that, that AI, that, kind of animated version of the commercial to look good. I mean, now you could do that for 1,500, 2 grand. And it looks, I mean, I wouldn't say it's Hollywood quality, but it's, I mean, give us a ring and we'll show you. I think it's about 70 or 80% there.
I agree with you. I think the production level. So I think everybody out there thinking about AI, what's the ROI in that, right? You have the cost savings in production. For me, my head goes, the biggest cost savings is just in time, but then also just the ability to scale your message. See, I think for a lot of times, because of the cost, to your point, right? Because of the cost of putting out those pieces, $10,000 plus, right? As a dealership, I could, probably swing one. maybe a quarter, something along that lines, right? Now, because the cost has come down so much, now I'm excited about the opportunity is it's not necessarily changing the budget, but now being able to put out like 5 to like 7 pieces of content
Right.
out there. So think about really being able to connect to multiple audiences, okay? Being able to do it both in English and in Spanish, targeting family audiences and, my commercial working audiences, right? Like being able to make content for each of my audiences where before, I was kind of stuck because of budgetary requirements. I was stuck kind of making one message that was great. It was fun and educational and stuff like that, but I'd have to get it that would kind of connect to everyone. Now I can actually create unique pieces for each of these audiences, wouldn't you say?
100%. And you're able to take that 30-second commercial and snip it down and get reels and social content
There you go.
and very quickly action, that what you're putting into the market from and make sure that the messaging is uniform across all of them, of all your platforms, and very easy to do. Whereas, before you'd have to have your production crew come film the commercial. By that time, usually you have to wait until offers come out. Then it's mid-month. Then you get, like you're not really even having good content until the latter half of the month, anyways. And so we're able to have speed to market in a way that we never have as well.
Here's a good question, and I like this one. And I actually don't necessarily know if I know the answer, and we may not, but it's definitely one I think I want to do a little more research on. Is are OEMs okay with using AI images? Because that opens up kind of a bucket. I mean, I like the idea, and like have you seen anything from the OEM side where they're like, hey, you know, let's move forward on this? Has you seen any OEMs put out any type of like compliancy or rules or regulations around it yet?
We've submitted for pre-approval. We've, it's like, for instance, like some brands, you'll have to, as long as you put their sales event of the month, and then they've got, as long as it doesn't break their brand standards, and, a certain portion of the spot is allocated towards new cars. I mean, that's really what they care about. You can't obviously get co-op. If so they're different OEMs have different rules, but I would say overall, as long as it's not like as long as it's tasteful, and as long as it's
Sure.
it's done in the correct way, and turned and looks aesthetically pleasing, like a lot of times they don't really buck, like. But yeah, I mean, are the Mercedes of the world or that kind of stuff? No, I mean, like, touche, right? Touche. I mean, are some OEMs, are we able to have less fun with some brands than we are with others?
Sure.
Of course, but I think that you got to know who you're talking to, right? I mean, know what dealer, what's the dealership trying to accomplish, what's the goal,
Yes.
and can we have more creative freedom with some brands over others? Of course. Yeah.
Well, I actually think the OEMs would be excited about this because it actually ensures a lot of those regulations. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how often would I give maybe a graphic designer or a videographer, here's the 3 pages of you got to make sure you use this font, you got to make sure you use this color, the logo's got to be in this location, it's got to be on the screen for this amount of time, you got to be able to use these, so like, uh, well, I can just dump that into an AI and it just knows every single time. So I'm not necessarily like, I definitely think, if it's a question about OEMs, I think OEMs should actually be excited about this because it's probably going to ensure higher level of compliancy to the, 5 pages of regulations that they have out there, right? What did you say?
Yes, 100%, 100%. And it's computers don't I mean, they're black and white. You tell them what you need and how you need it and what hex codes you need and all that, the color scheme, all that stuff, and they're not going to mess it up.
They're not going to mess it up. They're not going to go, squirrely on you and go, well, I'm going to turn that to green because it's the holidays,
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Right.
But we find that they get there doesn't seem to be any problem. We haven't ran into anything yet.
That's great. And it's
So
a good
far.
question to ask because it would be something I would think of too as well, right?
Yeah.
All right. I got a couple variations of this same question. It doesn't surprise me. It is the holidays. All right. I don't have a large budget. All right. I want to get the most amount of impact as I possibly can. Scottie, in your opinion, all right, if my dealership doesn't have a big budget, what should we be doing right now that will impact, the holiday selling season?
Um, well, I gave the analogy of Days of Thunder, right? Like 50 laps your way, 50 laps my way kind of thing. But I mean, truthfully, digital is faster. So pay attention to the bottom of the funnel. Pay
Mm.
attention to the bottom of the funnel. So search is going to be, and paid strategies are always going to where you're going to want to start. That's why we're a holistic agency and we build from the ground up. But there's a lot of people in the market that'll drive a lot of search intent for that brand, and then from a competitive landscape perspective, the dealers that we work with usually pick up that search activity as well. So not only do they have that tip of tongue in the market, but they're also garnering you know these other these other dealerships that might be really good at running their TV commercials, or their radio or billboard or whatever it is, and they drive the search, but then they don't do a good job capitalizing it because they're using some turnkey provider that's using the same strategy that works in Dallas that doesn't work in their market, right? And again, going back to it's how many dollars and cents are actually going towards these platforms. I think people are asleep on DuckDuckGo, Bing. I mean, there's so many places on search that dealerships just are not paying attention to, that just a couple $100, $300, $400 will make a huge difference. I mean, that's the difference between 2, 3, 4 units sometimes. And if you're making 2,500, 3,500 a clip or whatever that is, I mean, I would spend $400 to make that on 4 units all day, every day. And I just wonder how many partners are out there having those conversations. How many partners are sitting there, again, like, I don't know how much, I can't remember, but if I went into this, but I don't know anything about cars, but I know a lot about the car business. I can sit down with a dealership and like look at absorption rate, look at, have intelligent conversations and actually push back and say, look, if your car's priced 130% of market or whatever, like no amount of marketing is going to change that, right? Like you're not going to move the metal. So, I will kind of be that guy that says like, hey, this is let's price our cars accordingly. Let's get the eyeballs on them, and then let's move the metal. And then go into our search strategy. Another thing that we see is, some of these units are eating up a lot of your, that 30% of your units are eating up 70% of your budget. So get more effective at moving the needle. Bottom of the funnel is the fastest way to, and then also these dealerships are third party to death. We find a lot of times like they're, we'll come in, well, I'm on Car Guru and Auto Trader and Cars.com and all that. Like I'm not, they work. Like I don't want the arrows in my back from these like, there's always going to be the time where the guy in South Georgia, there's an old man that, comes in and he's like, hey, I, saw this truck on Auto Trader and I came in and bought it. And how does he get logged in the CRM? Lot up. Right. And there's no attribution on that. And people don't shop in a straight line. So these companies are like, we have perfect attribution. No, they don't. Like nobody does. There's not a perfect way to do it unless you called every single customer and had like 30-minute conversations to drill down on why they bought the car. But having said that, get one third party, do it really, really, really well. Sure. And know how to, know which one, looking at an auction insights report and looking at the things that we look at, know which one is the best in your market, and then develop bottom of the funnel tactics.
Yeah, I dig that. And look, and if you're looking for a quick win, there's a quick win. But I know we've talked about this in the past. Really what you're getting from marketing this month is the effort and time and strategy and planning you put in a couple months before. So, I mean, I still think, for everybody out there watching and listening, I know we love focusing on the bottom funnel, and it's good strategy to do right this second, 100%, right? But remember, if you keep doing that, you're eventually going to run out of funnel. You got to be filling the top, and I know me and you have talked about that a couple times.
Something we've seen a lot lately is because we've onboarded a couple dealerships. I'll be humble in saying that. There's a lot of mom and pop stores or stores that are even stores that have been anyways, they have a lot of equity and they rest on their laurels of, people just keep coming in to buy, and they're missing the new audience or the people who have moved to town, or they're missing, there's just a whole segment of the audience that they're missing. And having a way to have intelligent conversations with them and knowing how to, who to go after there is important. So.
100%, totally agree. Hey, this one's coming. I like this. This person is responsible for marketing at the dealership, so I'm responsible for the marketing at the dealership. I'm just curious, as a fellow marketer, if you had to pick one AI tool or workflow dealers should start with, what would you recommend?
Oh, I don't want this to sound loaded. It depends. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. It depends. Can you ask them? Can you respond back and ask them what they're trying to accomplish?
Well, they are a marketer, so they're responsible for the marketing at the dealership.
Um, if you're trying to do it in house and be cheap, I mean, I think if you're doing for content based stuff, I mean, I like Perplexity for citing out stuff and really like telling it to train it on the most intelligent ways and best marketers and what their kind of best practices are. That's a good way to look at things. If you're looking for, like, I mean, I'll just give away some of our stuff, but like, if you're trying to do voice type stuff, it's 11 Labs. I mean, that's like one of the best in the market, right? I mean,
That's true. If anybody out there watching and listening right now, if you've ever had to do a voiceover, you gotta go check out 11 Labs.
100%.
Dude, it's next level, right?
Yeah, and the great thing is like we're with this AI revolution, these companies are like anybody can get them. You don't have to be a professional marketer. You don't have to have all the credentials and all the stuff to do this. And the thing that I'm afraid of is that like in 18 months, 2 years from now, people will probably be able to write out a prompt and get the kind of commercials that we're generating today.
Well, but I hear you, and I mean, look, I ran an agency, eventually sold to my best friend. That was a creative agency, but look, the magic I think moving forward, I actually love the fact that creative is actually going to be easier because I think that's what allows dealers to be more creative. And I got to be honest with you, Scottie, we've talked about this before. There have not been a whole hell of a lot of creativity in our industry in the last decade, right? I mean, actually, 2 decades ago, there was some great creativity. I mean, guys, we had the Trunk Monkey, we had the Badger, we had. I mean,
Make people laugh, and they're gonna love your brand.
Like we had some great stuff, and then I swear, the last decade, it was just. I'm just going to take whatever the manufacturer has. I'm going to cut it up, resize, and just throw it in people's faces at a high frequency, right? I love the fact that dealers can now be more creative. But I think what's going to be key to them being more creative is finding, like yourself, a good execution partner, because that makes the big difference. Wouldn't you say?
That we do, and that's why we like our business model. I mean, we don't make money. We charge a flat retainer. You see what we're making, and when we give advice, it's on budget. That it comes from not a place of if you spend more money, we're going to make more money. It comes from a place of this is what it's going to take to be effective. And then our CPMs. I mean, I'll say this right now on Game Changer Holiday Series. I put our CPMs against every media company in the automotive industry. Period. Before you buy something, shop it to us. Seriously. Because
the whole thing is you guys are making money on that. Like you don't have a sliding percentage scale or whatever.
Yeah. And I think you're going to be baffled by how much money there is in the margin, right? And that's our differentiator. That and the fact that whether you like us or you hate us, you're going to remember us. I mean, it's a purple hippo and a big guy in a purple suit, right? I mean, marketing matters. Right? I mean,
you gotta love that aspect of it just in itself. You gotta
do what?
You gotta love just that part of it in itself, right? Like, I mean, if for any reason, if there's no other reason in the world to work with Scottie and Hippo Media, it's because of a purple suit and a hippo. So, like, just to say, I mean, if there's any other.
Did I tell in my thing? Did I tell why it's called Hippo?
You did.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I can't remember.
It's a great story. All right, we got time for one more. Let's see here. Okay, this is actually kind of a good one, and I don't know maybe if there's enough data out there to prove if this changes it. Does this actually help shorten the sales cycle? Are you seeing AI content be actually help? And I don't know, maybe because it's just we are being more creative. I don't know.
I mean, everything. I mean, I wouldn't be in business and I wouldn't do this if I didn't think I was the best, right? So, like, I'll answer that with like a humble brag here, which is when you bring us on, you're going to see the trend line is going to go up, right? You're going to sell more cars. I think dealerships have got to get out of the mentality of 30-day cycles. I think looking at things in like winning or losing within the month, that kind of like not. So. Yes, what we did 90 days ago affects us today. Those trend lines will go up from a content perspective, just staying on that. But digital tactics, I mean, we see people who switch out their websites, get a more effective website, change their pay-per-click strategy, get things dialed in. I mean, that's almost instantaneous shot in the arm. right? Or, but there's also partners that aren't having intelligent conversations, which is, it's going to take 45 days to reindex your site. Google's going to have to do it. I mean, there's going to be a lull, and then you're going to see the traction gain. And from a paid strategy perspective, it really is just, what's your cost per click? I mean, we're sub $1.50 on most of our campaigns. Our click-through rates are 25 to 30%. We go to some of these other vendors and they're like 7 to 8%, and it's just comical, right? And then we have some really unique ways of running some really great campaigns. I mean, I got to think that we've got some cool ways of garnering some stuff. And then, yeah, it's just, but like the free advice is still, I mean, if you can get that Wikipedia page, Wikipedia page built, that you're going to garner 1 out of every 3 searches from a who's the best Ford store near me from a ChatGPT perspective, just because that's where it's going to pull content from, right?
And
so
by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, because I think there were some great takeaways in your session. But dude, I think for anybody out there watching and listening right now, guys, like, this is something you just need to go do right this moment.
Right.
Like it's a little bit of work, not a crazy amount of time, but to your point,
and they're not all getting approved. So you got to, I mean, if you've been a dealership for a long time, there's ways to get that submitted and going. And there's a lot of steps, and we're learning that as well. So, but I mean, there are very simple things, even outside of that, that there's just so many free things that you can do right now. So many free things that you could do right now. Even if you hire our company, I mean, look, we're in a really great spot, because we're now kind of vetting partner. Like, what is this? Is this a 6-month thing, an 8-month thing, a year thing, a year and a half? And we can kind of get a sense for that. And we want those 2-year, 3-year partnerships at minimum. But no contract, month to month. I will say that because I hate vendors that come out.
To your point, though, I mean, since there is so many tools out there and so many more coming, is that I think for everybody out there watching this, you got to find a partner. You got to find a partner.
Yeah, what I was going to get to is, like, let us give you the free advice, right? I mean, that's what we do. That's what we live in. Like, even if you just bring it on, maybe we'll have like an a la carte just for this game changer, where we can consult with the dealership and they can just pay like a consulting fee, and we'll give them all the free things that they should be doing.
Dude, I love it. In fact, actually, it's a perfect segue, because we are out of time. Scottie, I had so much fun recording this with you, dude. I look forward. I'm sure I'll be seeing you here at NADA, and I'm sure a lot of people out there watching and listening will be seeing you guys at NADA as
purple suits, baby. Come on, the purple suits.
You won't miss me. You're not going to miss Scottie. And when the two of us are together, we're like just a big glowing ball.
We're Clemson's happy. Like, we're Clemson's happy.
That's right. No, we won't go there. We don't talk about it on the show. Anyway, hey, real quick, Scott, before I let you go, for everybody out there watching and listening who would love to connect with you, maybe continue some of the conversations, or we didn't quite get to your question that you may have asked, what's the best way to connect with you?
I'll give you my cell phone number. It's 704-678-4311. Again, that's 704-678-4311. I'm an open book. Call me anytime.
Absolutely. And guys, we appreciate you guys taking the time to join us today. Hey, one of the biggest compliments you can give us as content creators is to share the show. Look, I know you're not going to hit the like button. You're not going to hit the subscribe button. And, you submitted a question because it gave you an anonymous number to text into, which is fine. I get it. It's totally cool. All right. But the biggest ask I can ask of you, and the biggest compliment that you could give us as content creators, is share the show. Okay? You got a friend, a colleague, or a manager that needs to see some portion of today's conversation. Literally, the best compliment you can ever give us as content creators is share the show. Scottie, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. For everybody out there watching and listening, you guys have an amazing holiday, and thank you for joining today's episode. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See you, Jason. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.